And we are live. Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to She Built It Boss Lady Chronicles. I am Sharita Gaskins-Stillette. I am your host. And this is the show where we feature the amazing stories of women who are owning their power to transform their lives. And so I am super excited to introduce you to tonight's guest. I am also very excited myself to learn more about the work that she does because it's really, really outstanding. But we want to give a couple minutes to let other folks come in. If you are watching us live, please say hi in the comments. Put your questions in the comments. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay and still put your questions in the comments because I will be happy to pass them along. And then just a reminder, time is starting to wind down for early bird special for A Weekend for Me, the premier wellness experience for professional women, taking place October 2nd through the 5th in Grand Cayman. If you missed last week's episode, go back and listen because I actually had, I think there were probably about 5 or 6 ladies who attended previous retreats, came on and did the live with me last week, and it was amazing. You got a behind the scenes look at A Weekend for Me. So if you've ever wondered what actually happens there, they spilled all the tea last week. So go back and listen to that. But definitely, I would love to host you. So again, October 2nd through the 5th in Grand Cayman. Get more information at www.aweekendforme.com. If you are interested, send me a DM. I'm happy to jump on a call with you. And I can also send you a coupon if you're interested. So just reach out. But anyway, let's get to tonight's guest. So I have joining me tonight Dr. Felecia Froe. Dr. Felecia is the founder of Money with Mission and Wealth Builders, companies focused on empowering and helping professional women build wealth and achieve financial freedom through social impact investing so they can live life as they choose. Dr. Froe has been a real estate syndicator and investor for over 2 decades. She has helped investors invest in social impact projects like an assisted living home and a grocery store in a food desert, as well as sober living homes. Felecia has been passionate about helping women have options in their lives after she watched her mother stay in a domestic violence relationship. Many years later, she found herself trapped in the job she thought she would love and be in forever, medicine. Wealth Builders is a community where women can feel free to talk about their money dreams and fears without judgment, a place where they can learn about investing in assets that cash flow and be connected to vetted projects to help them grow their financial wealth. We are working to build our vision to reality. All women have the financial ability to walk away from any job or any relationship that is not in her best interest. Welcome, Dr. Felecia.
Hey, Sharita, thank you. You guys see my dogs walking around in the background?
It's
Live is
okay.
live, right?
Live is live, and we're all friends here. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Like
Thank
I
you.
said, at the outset, I'm really interested to learn about what you do, but I usually actually like to have you start a little bit at the, kind of the beginning of the story. Did you always want to be a physician? Did you know? And you actually didn't mention, I know some things about you, so I know, your specialty. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll
Yep.
get more into the today story.
Yep. So I was born in Tuskegee, Alabama. My father is a veterinarian and he was in vet school, or he was just finishing vet school when we were there. My mom, college graduate, also. I'm not even going to put the decade that it was in, but it was a long time ago in the South. And women at that point were secretaries. And although she had a college degree, that's what she did. And what I was raised with was money doesn't grow on trees. We got to, you got to go to school. You got to get a great job. And, that's how you're going to survive. And as a Black woman, as a Black person in this world, you got to struggle. You got to strive. And having that great job is going to be your thing. So I wanted to be a veterinarian, honestly. And I remember in high school, it was like, I told my dad, I'm going to be a veterinarian. And he looked at me and said, if you're going to school that long, you're going to go to medical school. And I don't remember anything after that being about going to vet school. It was always, okay, I'll go to medical school. And so that was from high school until college. I was going to medical school. In college, I went in as pre-med and then realized, I don't really like this. This is a lot. I don't know. Can I be a mom? Can I be, do all these things and still be a doctor? And I didn't think I could. So I actually quit and went to pharmacy school for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Pharmacy school was boring. Not that and here's why it was boring. Not because it was easy. It was hard. There was a lot to learn. I'm like, I think about a pharmacist, that person behind, CVS, Walgreens, counting pills. I'm like, these people know way too much for that to be what they do.
Right. Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine doing all that schooling and then doing that. So back to medical school. It felt like at that point now, it felt like a calling. Back into regular college, got my degree in chemistry, then got accepted to medical school. Lots of stuff around that. My dad was like, no, you can't quit one professional school and then try to get to another one. That's not going to happen. Finish pharmacy. Then, and anyway, I quit pharmacy school and got accepted on my first round into medical school.
So it all worked.
It all worked. Going into medical school, I thought I was going to do primary care, pediatrics, something like that. I hated those rotations. Loved surgery. Loved OBGYN. And then saw the 93, so over 30 years as a urologist, very, very part-time right now. And like I said like you said in the intro, it took me about 5 years when I realized, I thought I was going to be here forever. This is not it. This is not it. And I can't even tell you what it was. It actually was like, I really feel like I heard a voice. This is not what you're going to do forever.
Okay. So then, I think that's interesting because a lot of people talk about feeling burnt out or dissatisfied in some way. But honestly, it doesn't sound like you were particularly dissatisfied. It's just that you felt that you were being called to something more. Is that accurate?
At that point, it was, I feel like there's something else I'm supposed to do. Now, I didn't get to that for quite some time. And yes, I did get burnt out, which is what the actual impetus was to figure out what this thing is. But at that point, it was like, there's something else. And it was.
So how did you navigate that? Because I do think that happens to quite a few of us, and then there's some emotion that goes along with that.
Yes,
because when you have invested so much time and energy into a field, and then especially for women like us in medicine, we're only 2% Black women. And so, you feel an obligation. But when you're called to something more, it's like you're torn. Like, I'm called to something more, but I'm needed over here. And so how did you reconcile those emotions?
The need part as a Black woman, that part didn't even play a part to me. Okay. It was, I've got student loans. I've got 2 kids. Okay. What am I going to do? And yes, I was married, but I had the primary income. And so it was like, and we had just bought a house and we had, all this stuff, and there was nowhere to go. So it was very much, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Okay. Back burner. You got to put your head down and keep doing this. And I'm always, and I don't remember if I was like this then, but I am this way now. When something comes, like there's something else you're supposed to do, I was like, okay, well, show it to me and I'll just be patient as I can be, waiting for that to show up. And mine is usually, I'm not going to live here forever. So where am I going to go next? And people go, where are you going to move to? I'm like, I don't know yet. It still hasn't shown up yet.
Right.
So that was scary for me because I can't just walk away. I have all these obligations. And we actually moved. We were in Minnesota at that time in my first practice, and we moved to Kansas City. And over time, I met a group of women who were looking to buy a building to purchase to practice out of. And I met some amazing women then. There were a group of gynecologists. We bought this building, and there was a woman who was not a physician, but was a businesswoman, had built this big insurance company, who introduced me to a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and introduced me to women building business. And she's an amazing woman. And that was when I realized, okay, maybe this real estate thing is a thing. Money working for me is a thing. It shouldn't be the other way around. And that was the beginning of the whole thing. It actually was a patient that got me to buy my first house.
Okay. All right. Tell us about that.
This woman, young woman, could come in. I'd seen her for a little bit. And she would come in, like, well, Jamie, can you come on this day at this time? Sure, whatever. Just tell me what to do. I'm like, how come you can come whenever? What's going on? What do you do? Well, I'm a real estate investor. My husband and I invest in real estate. We're just coming back from Asia, I think was at the time. We like, what do you mean you're a real estate investor? And I had read the book, but we would spend half the time of her appointment talking about non-medical things and half the time of her appointment talking about her medical condition. And ultimately I was kind of looking, and we found this house, and I said, Jamie, would you look at it with me? And they had a bunch of houses. They had been doing it for a long time. And so she went and looked at this house with me, and we walked it with this realtor, and she looked at me after. I was like, well, what do you think? She goes, well, I'm going to say this. If you don't buy it, I'm going to buy it. If you buy it, and I'll let you use our team, because we have a team that rehabs things. You can use our team to rehab it, because then you'll know if it's done well. And if you buy it, rehab it, and you're losing money on it, I'll buy it from you.
So that was a win-win all the way around.
I'm going to feel kind of stupid if I don't do this.
Right.
So she basically challenged me. And so that's what I did. We bought that house. And then we went crazy. We bought 18 properties in 8 months. It was a matter of, okay, this is working. And we just went. It was like, boom, boom, boom.
So now
boom.
Tell me this. Did you go with the intent of transitioning into real estate investing from medicine? Like, was that the goal all along? Or did that become the goal as things began to unfold?
After I had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and realized that a business and money working for me was the way to go, then I realized that real estate, cash flowing real estate, was a way to make that happen, to replace my income. That's when we started. So we had played this game, Cash Flow 101. We had done a lot of things. It wasn't just from the book too. There was a lot of other stuff that happened in there. And then it did become, eventually I'll be able to quit practicing once we get enough houses and once we get enough cash flow. That was the actual goal. So yes, bottom line, at that point, yes, it was going to be able to do that. That didn't happen in a straight line.
So when you talk about your money working for you, what does that mean?
That means that, like, while I might go to work, get paid a salary, I don't just spend that money on things that don't do something for me. In other words, I attract my dollars, they come in, and then I send a certain amount of them out to come back with children that I didn't have to do anything. They're out doing the work. And so that's how I think about investing. Yes. I put my money out there as an investment, and it should bring me something, whether it brings me dollars, whether it brings me, like, I tell people who invest in charities or who donate to charities, like, that's an investment. There should be some return on that. While it's not dollars, it's a improvement in something. So when I put money out there, something needs to change, whether it's to bring me dollars or help somebody do something.
So tell me, where did that mentality come from? Because I don't know that a lot of, I know that that's a thing that you hear amongst the wealthy, but for everyday people, I don't know that that's necessarily the way they approach money. Has that always been your identity with regard to money? And if not, where did it come from?
No, it's not always been my identity when it comes to money. So I didn't tell you, when we bought all those houses, we actually lost everything in the financial crisis, everything. And that we borrowed $50,000 to keep it going. And then it just like, no, that's not going to work. We lost it all. So I'm back down to nothing. Credit score 500. Life is looking icky. But I didn't feel like real estate was the problem. Like, there's something I missed. Because I've been reading books, I've been listening to other, I don't know if podcasts were there at that point, but books, tapes, CDs, all you folks don't know those things. Okay, those things, it did exist. And learning that, hearing like, this real estate investing works for people, and people who make a lot of money invest in something, invest in an asset. That's one of the things in Rich Dad is like, wealthy don't work for money. Money works for them. So that's where that came from.
Okay.
And it took a while for it to actually sink in and be a real, like, thing. It's a part of me now. It's like when I I still get scared about not having enough money. It still happens. That fear comes like, oh, what am I going to do? This thing's coming up, that thing's coming up. And then I go and look at everything. I was like, okay, well, I can shift this from here and do that from there. It's just there. And the other part of it is that there's always enough. There's always enough money. And every single time it's been enough. So it has occurred over time. I wasn't this way. I was very scarcity. I was very fear-based with money. I didn't know what to do. When I got it, I spent it. I bought a thing I wanted. It wasn't about working to buy an asset. So books, mentors, other people who've done it. So that was after we lost everything. I was like, okay, how do I fix this? How do I make this something that's going to work? And it was getting mentors, paying people to teach me, basically, paying people so that I can learn from their mistakes and not have to make the same things over again.
So I think it's interesting though, because I think that, many people in your shoes, having lost everything and, having all this debt and, your credit kind of destroyed, would have said, okay, this real estate investing thing was not for me. I'm not good at this. It might work for some, but not for me. But what gave you the wherewithal to go back into it?
I honestly think it was medicine. Knowing, so before I actually decided to start investing in real estate, and I had talked about it for a long time, and I had actually talked about it to people who are dream crushers. Those people are out there who say, like, I think I want to do something else. And I think I'm like, but you're a doctor. What else can you do? That's all you can do. And then one day, another down, I was like, wait, I went to medical school. I'm a doctor. I can do anything. I can do anything. It's like, hold on a second. No, I'm not tied to just this thing.
And I think,
Go ahead.
Now, I think a lot of people get stuck in that kind of thinking that I can only do one thing. And the reality is that there's so many, we are like infinitely gifted, and so many skills transfer to other areas if we just have an open mind about it. And, we allow society to put us in a box, and we sometimes put ourselves in a box. And it's not until you let yourself out of the box that you can figure out what the possibilities are.
And getting out of the box is scary. And you have your parents telling you, what are you doing? What's wrong with this? What? You're not going to, what? You're doing what? You're going to lose money. You're going to And I mean, you have to put that. I mean, I kept doing some things because of that for a while, and then realized they really don't understand, and they really are afraid for me. So, it's safer to stay in medicine. It's safer to stay here. I was like, there actually came a time I was like, if I keep doing this, it is going to kill me.
Okay.
I got to that point, and it was like, okay, then something's got to change, because there's too many knocks on the head coming. So you don't need a brick to fall, like you don't need the whole wall to fall on you.
Okay. So you went back into real estate investing, and I guess it worked out this time.
With mentors, with real people. Like I joined, like I'm still working full time. So I'm going to, when I'm on vacation or when I take, CME time, I would go to real estate meetings. I would join groups that have people that are doing things. I met so many people, but it took time. And then when I got into, this is what I really, really want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. It was getting up at 4:00 in the morning, working my real estate business, going to work at 8:00, coming home. And I mean, it was just those 3 hours in the morning that I would do it. And it was really worth it for me. So when I left, I was living in Hawaii when we lost everything. And I took a job that gave me a gigantic signing bonus so that I could get back. And I did it. I left Hawaii. It was the hardest thing I ever did to leave Hawaii. Loved living there. Took my 2 kids on Christmas Day, got on a plane and flew to California, where they were giving me, I'm going to tell y'all, $250,000 signing bonus.
Wow. That's a huge signing bonus.
Signing bonus. And
that might make me leave Hawaii too.
I had to stay for 7 years to make it forgivable. I was like, okay, maybe I can do that. I don't know. We'll see. I did. But I took that money and I bought, like, remember my credit score is 500 and something. I'm not getting good credit. And it was 2011, into the crisis. The houses are cheap. I had some friends in Kansas City who could help me manage, and I'm like, I really trusted them. Jamie introduced me to them. And so they started looking for houses for me. And I think I bought 3 houses with that 250, 2
Mm-hmm.
cars,
Oh,
and
wow.
bought 3 houses, rehabbed them, bought 2 cars, and then we're off to the races. We're going.
So at what point did you, because you said, well, I know you're doing locums at this point, right? For those who are not in medicine, it's like temp positions for physicians. And
Yeah.
so at what point did you transition out of regular practice?
I actually transitioned while I was still in my regular practice to like, y'all, I'm going to leave, or this has got to change some kind of way. So then they like, okay. I said, listen, I actually said this. I was like, I'll take call every night if I don't have to work in the day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they said, okay, you mean we never have to take calls? Like, I'll take call every night, Monday through Thursday. And then I would talk to, I would do telephone appointments or whatever. And I did that from 2018 to 2021 when I left altogether.
But you know what? I want to highlight just one thing in that, because that's a really out of the box kind of thing, to approach it as, okay, I can't do this, but this is what I can do. And I think also that we don't give ourselves the power, the agency to approach, maybe your employer or your colleagues or whatever, to say, this is what I need, and this is
Mm-hmm.
what I need it to look like. And I love that you were very clear about it, and and probably nobody had even thought that anybody would be willing to do call every night, right?
They didn't.
Who would do that is probably what they thought. But at the same time, it benefited your life, it worked for you. And so, for people who are thinking that they need a different kind of schedule, don't be afraid to approach the human resources or whomever with it, because you never know. The worst they can say is no, and then you're still
No.
in the same position where you are, right? But
You're
if
in the
it's
same
yes,
position. But and when you bring it to them and just give the no, like, well, what would work for you?
right.
And then you can
It at
come
least
up with something that's
it
gonna
opens the conversation.
exactly. That I don't was I surprised? And I only lost like my income went down like 10%. It wasn't that much that it went
Okay.
down. Um and that I mean, it did get hard. There were days that were hard if I had to get up in the middle of the night and operate, and then I'm trying to work all day the next day doing my real estate stuff. Those were hard days. And there were a lot of days when I was in there, I was like, I can't, I'm done with this. And I hung in there till 21 and then left altogether. And now I work locums 2 days a week and doing real estate and building wealth builders. And it you know how you hit your words on what your why is, and all
Yeah.
the time you look, and then I looked back on what I've been doing, and it's like, this is what I've been doing all along. My why was right here. I just couldn't verbalize it. And that
Yeah.
every woman should have the financial ability to walk away from any job or relationship is like, that's what I've been doing all along.
So where did that come from? Where does that come from?
It comes from my mom being stuck, being trapped. It comes from me being trapped. And it's just those, it's for me, we need to have options. We need to be able to call the shots, live the life we want to live, and not just like, oh, I'm stuck here because I got to do this and I can't. And I get it. We get to a point in our burnout where you just can't even think. And I want women, before we get there, to have a plan. Here's what I'm going to do if I get to this point. And I know I'm so happy some women I've talked to and have been in our group who have decided to work differently. It's like, this just doesn't work for me. And they figured out their mind. It's like, oh, no, I can do this. This works. And I'm going down, and next year I'm going down to this amount of work. I'm going down to 3/4. I'm going down to half. And it's a matter of rethinking just life. Just what do you really, really want? What you said is, what do you want? And then work for it. And
Right.
why not shoot for the whole thing the first time?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why not? Because then you just back down. It's like, what would I settle for? And what do I want?
Right. Right.
And
And
it's a
then,
negotiation.
but then also too, I like that you got mentors, that, that you recognize that there are shortcuts available. A lot of people, you don't look at, they may look at coaching and mentoring and those kinds of things as unnecessary expenses. But I
Expenses.
actually look at it as time savers.
Yep.
And, there's somebody's already done it. Why reinvent the wheel when you can follow what they've done? They've already fallen in the pothole. You don't
You
have
know,
to fall
you
in
don't,
that same pothole,
you
right?
don't have to. And just like my coach now, I was like, I want to do this. And like, I have no idea how to do it. So I go, I know how to do that. And I was like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody has done it.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing, is talking, not being afraid to say what you want to as many people as can hear. Yes, there are dream crushers out there, and you got to put your armor on sometimes when you go talk to people, because you don't know what they're going to come back with. And a lot of times you get more than you even asked for. For one
But I also
example
think,
is, go ahead.
now I also like that you found a community, because I think the community made a difference too, because you mentioned that and at the outset that you found that group of women who were investing in a building.
Yes. Yes. You know, honestly, that I didn't even realize that was a real estate deal till much, much later. It didn't even occur to me. Like, oh, yeah, that was my first real estate deal. That didn't work out like I wanted to. Like a lot of deals, everything doesn't work out like you picture it, right? You know, you have your plan and God shows you what it is.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, it's like, oh, that was your plan? Yeah, we're going to do this instead. Um, and a lot of deals haven't worked out the way I thought they would. And like we talked about, I lost everything at one point. And those are lessons, mistakes, and punches in the gut, and loss of money are lessons. And you can take them and be the thing, and that be the thing that doesn't let you keep going, or it can be the thing that propels you to the next level. Every real estate investor has lost money.
Yeah, yeah.
Every
And it
single one.
seems it seems that every experience you had was helping to shape you into who you are today, and helping to solidify and clarify the actual mission and the goal.
Yeah.
So, I choose to look at it as, no mistake is ever really a mistake. It's a lesson.
It's a
You take the lessons. I mean, and like you said, they hurt. Some of them hurt, some of
be
them
real.
are costly, but you take the lessons and you keep going. So I want to transition the conversation now to talk specifically about wealth builders, because I was really intrigued when I read your bio, and it mentioned, some of the social things that you're doing
Mhm,
in your investing. So I want to
mhm.
know, when did that begin? Why, what moved you in that direction, and how does it work?
That's very, thank you for asking, because real estate investing at first, buying houses, buying apartments, I've been invested in a lot of things. Those were like, okay, this is good. And I could do this. And it was kind of like medicine. Yeah, I could do this, but I don't want it. It's not moving me. It's not the thing. And then in the whole thing of networking, I learned about building residential assisted living homes. So it's a house that you make into a assisted living. So it's a smaller assisted living type facility. So that was my first social impact project. You get an elderly person in a home-like atmosphere. You help their family, so their families are struggling. I took care of my mom in her last year of life. It was hard. That is hard work. And to have some place where you can have them that feels like a home, not like a hospital or an institution, was what we were going for. So that was our first one, my first social impact project. And again, that didn't work out like we wanted it to. It was harder than heck to do. Hard, hard, hard. We sold it. So that was one thing I was going to tell you. It's like the talking to people is like when it was the hardest, my partners bailed on me. I was there running the thing by myself. I was in California. It was in Kansas City. The guys that were supposed to be helping me they just left. Lesson learned. Okay. Then and so it was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm just talking. I talked to anybody who would listen to me about it. And I had built this network of people actually in Kansas City. And eventually somebody said, hey, we know somebody who actually wants to own a house and they can't afford to buy a house to do this. Would you rent it to them? I'm like, heck yeah. So that got me out of a bad situation. We rented the house to them. They paid the mortgage. They paid all the utilities. They paid all the stuff because it kept me from bleeding money. And then ultimately we sold it to them and got the investors all their money back. While they didn't make money, they didn't get a big return on their investment. They didn't lose money, which was my goal. It was like the investors cannot lose money.
Okay.
My second partnership lesson came with that grocery store when the grocery store got open, North Tulsa. It was a food desert. We finally got it open. Again, I had partners that all bailed, and again, it's like I had to have it twice now to happen to me. And some investors actually did lose money on that deal. The best thing about it is the community now has a grocery store, and I'm still working with folks in that community where we're working on actually smaller type footprint stores in neighborhoods so that people don't have to get in a car, get on a bus and go to the grocery store. They have like a bodega. If you think New York, how they have all those little ones, that kind of thing in a neighborhood. So we're having our grand opening for one of those Thursday.
Okay. So now when you, just so I'm clear, when you're talking about these kinds of projects, you're buying the property along with some others. Are you running the properties too, or you guys are hiring folks to run those?
So with the assisted living, that one was supposed to be run by my partners who left. So then that became, we had staff, but I was more in charge of everything. I didn't have to be in there doing the care, but it was me doing the overall management of the thing. With the grocery store, there's people actually doing the grocery store. With these smaller footprint ones, we actually are going to do a franchise type model where investors will buy the initial thing and then teach people how to run it, and then ultimately sell to that individual who is running the thing. So because we want it to be local. And the best thing about these is we've got local produce in there, trying to shortening the food chain. Yes. The supply chain, I mean. So getting farmers to grow, just making that it's a big ecosystem that we've been working on this for a long time, and it's finally coming. So excited about it.
And so this is in the Tulsa area right now?
Our first one is in Tulsa, yes. And we'll get it all packaged up and make sure the thing works. We didn't have any investors in this one. This is our prototype. We can make sure the prototype works. This is going to go well, and then we'll open it up more. Again, in Tulsa will probably be our next one. And then once once you get it and figure that out, you're ready to, let's go.
Okay. All right. Now Wealth Builders specifically, you have a program where you help women invest.
Yeah. So with all the years, over 2 decades of investing, you meet a lot of people, and you know a lot of operators, and you know the good ones, and you know the ones that are doing a good job, and you know the ones who eventually expose themselves as they weren't doing a good job. So it takes a while to know. So one of the things he's like, okay, great. This is great. I want to invest in real estate. Okay, now what do I do? Do I buy a house and then I have to deal with all that? No, I don't recommend. That's another job. I don't recommend that. Single family houses are fine, but don't manage it yourself. Have somebody else manage it. Put that into the numbers. If you want to, what I help do is pool money and then buy something. So a lot of women come into the group and they're like afraid. There's a fear of losing money. I get it. I had it. It's there. So I'm doing some projects, single family houses in Arizona that we're renting to an organization for sober living. It's called Oxford House.
Okay.
Higher than normal rents. Like we have so the rents, the first return on the one we have is like 17%. And we're just getting our second one under. So we took, minimum investment in that was $10,000. So you bring 10 and this like, and 10 sounds like a lot for a lot of people. It's like, oh my God, if I lose $10,000, it's my point is $10,000 will not affect your life. It affects your feelings. 100% it affects your feelings. It will not affect your life. You will be able to go on. You'll make another $10,000 and just keep on moving. So that's what I want people to get is like, yes, you're risking money. 100% you're risking money. Investing in your 401k is risking money. It doesn't feel as scary because it just happens automatically. Sure. But we saw the stock market.
Yes. last week.
I mean, and there is not a thing you can do but sit there and watch that and hope it comes back. And if you're investing with something that I'm investing in, you're going to know that your money is more important to me than my money. I cannot stand investors losing money.
So do you feel like you have more control in this in the work, the way that you invest versus a 401k or
100% more control, 100% more control. And if people, and as physicians, we are control people, right? It's not, we're not going to lie. We like to be have it controlled. You can do that. You can buy your own houses. Some of the women I've talked to and coached go for Airbnb. They don't want to syndicate. They want to do their own. That's fine. I just want you to invest. I want you to know enough and how to do it and where to buy and all those kinds of things so that you can. It doesn't matter to me. I would not recommend, just because we did that 18 houses was self-managed. I would never do that again.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work.
It's another job. And if you're still full-time doing your work, you don't have time for that. So
Right.
The thing about real estate investing and control is that you should know the person you're investing with. It's not like Fidelity or I can't even think of any other companies, the other fiduciaries that take your money, and you don't know anybody necessarily that really cares about you.
Yes.
If you invest with me or invest with an operator, the first thing, you're investing with that operator. You're investing in a deal, yes, but you're investing in that operator. You're investing in that person who's running the deal, trusting them that if something goes wrong, they're going to be talking to you to explain it to you and figure out and to help you understand why it happened and how it's going to get fixed if it can get fixed.
Okay.
So that's the biggest thing to me.
So the program, is it like one-on-one coaching? Is it group coaching? Is it mentoring? What is BuildHers?
Yes. Yes. Number one is community. I want women to have a place to come to talk about money, because it's not something we talk about. It's like, we talk about sex way more than we talk about money. And it's just an easier conversation, but I want us to talk about it. Let's talk. What are you scared of? Why did you do that as opposed to this? I just bought my first Porsche and I paid $100,000 for it, and we're going to cheer for that because that made you happy. I just bought my first property. I just invested in my first property and we just got our first check, and we're going to cheer for that. And we don't do that in general public and general population, because
it's not polite to talk about money, right?
If we've been taught it's not polite to talk
about
money.
Right. That's exactly what I meant. Yes.
But it's everywhere. Everybody has it. Everybody needs it. Everybody wants it. And we don't talk about it. So let's start that conversation. If we can even talk about it with our kids, now they become less afraid to talk about it. And it just can perpetuate this. This is how money is made. Because wealthy people talk to their kids about their money. The ones that have it for generations. If you don't have it for generations, and there are wealthy people who've lost their money because they didn't talk to their kids about it. But when you want that to go, you talk to your children about the money and how it's made, how it's lost, and how you make it again if you lose it. Like, it can happen. Right. And this is what you do. You just come on back in.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that so many times from from people who are wealthy that they've lost their money and they get it again, and they feel like it's even easier to get the second time around because they know what to do. Yes. That's really that's interesting. So now, okay, so it's community. What else?
Someplace to talk. And then when you're ready, when we look at all your stuff and figure out, yep, you're ready to invest, and what's your why? Why are you doing this? Because when you know why you're doing something, it always seemed like what difference does it make why I'm doing it? I should just do it, right? But having my why, I'm telling you that every woman should have the financial ability. When I get tired and don't want to do it anymore, I was like, yeah, but I still feel that is still strong for me. And that is what I'm here to do. So getting to your thing, why you want to do it, is first step. Then now we're ready to invest. Listen, you're already there. I know, folks, I've got deals. We talk about what your goals are, and then I can help connect you with that person to invest and walk you through that deal. And every time, because the first time you do it is scary as heck. You get a stack of papers like this, and it's like, talks about every risk under the sun that could happen. You can lose all your money. You could lose your teeth. You could lose your kids. You could lose, it's scary. And then you sign it, and then we wire the money, and we wait for money to start coming back.
So what's the minimum investment? Like, say somebody is thinking about it, and they think, well, maybe I don't have enough money to invest in real estate. Is there a number that you would recommend as a minimum?
I don't have a recommended number, and I guarantee you, if you think you don't have enough money, you're wrong. You're wrong, because it's just a matter of thinking. It really is. When you start to open your mind up to money, you will see that it is everywhere. And people are willing. If you need money for something and you need to borrow it, you need to, get it some kind of way. If your kid was kidnapped and you needed $1 jillion, you would find $1 jillion. It would happen, right? So when there is something you want strong enough, you will figure out how to get it. And the properties that I'm doing in Arizona, $10,000 minimum, $10,000. And I know there's people out there saying, like, I don't have $10,000. There's no way. And that we could have a conversation. I was like, okay, let's talk about that. Oh, look, you got $10,000. And I haven't talked to anybody who didn't have $10,000 as a physician. Let me put it that way, or someone who's working. Now, does every woman have it? No, but every woman can work towards it.
Yeah, and also with some of the things that you're talking about, it's a matter of pooling resources as well.
Yes, 100%. So if you're looking, she's like, I don't want to go invest with people I don't know, then I want to buy a house, but I don't have the money to buy it myself to get a down payment, then talk to some people. People do that all the time. Make sure your entities are right, make it legal, and make all the stuff. Talk to me about bad partners. Don't go down that road. You just make sure, because everybody's your friend when everything's going well.
Sure.
Just put it that way. And when it's not going well, you find some ugliness in the world.
So people are interested in working with you. How can they find you? What's the best way?
Go to moneywithmission.com. That's our website. And under opportunities is Wealth BuildHers. So that's one. I have a podcast. Every week we talk to women just like you do about their money story and how they overcame whatever money story they started with, how they got to where they are today. So just that inspiration to know that, I talked to a lady, this one was so amazing to me. She's a Korean woman who was in an orphanage, in a special needs orphanage. Her dad left them, her sister left her in the orphanage. And now she's a multimillionaire after she got adopted into the United States and is now trading options.
Wow.
So that story, that was a two-parter because we had so much to talk about. It was so good. Anyway, so podcasts, Money with Mission, it's called Wealth Builders. I'm sorry, we just changed the name, Wealth Builders Podcast. And that comes out every Wednesday, I think.
And it's BuildHers, HERS.
Yes,
right?
Wealth BuildHers. Yes.
Okay.
If you can't remember, go to moneywithmission.com. All the stuff is going to be on there, tell you how to get to wherever. And I would love to talk to anybody who just wants to understand money a little more. We can talk through your money. It's safe. I'm not going to tell you. If you don't want to buy, you don't have to buy. That's not what we do.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that attracted me to you is just the social aspect of it. It's one thing for a lot of us, we have, kind of an altruistic part of us. And so it's one thing to want to invest for your own gain, but it's really gratifying to be able to invest and have it benefit other people at the same time.
And bring you some dollars back.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Or I have people's like, okay, I don't really care about the social impact investing. I want to be able to give money away. So right now I just want to make a lot and then I'll give it away once I make it. However you think about it is fine.
Yeah.
It just, whatever is for you is fine. That's the biggest thing. If just how you think about it is fine. I just want you to think about it. If right now you got enough money to give away and you want to give it away, always think about it as an investment. No matter what it is, it's an investment. And what do you want that investment to do for you or to do for the world?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I appreciate the work that you're doing. And of course, I love your mission that you want to help women, and that because we actually have kind of a shared mission in that respect. My mission is not so much about money, but, but money is a big part of it. Money is freedom, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so if you don't have the money to do the things you need to do, to some extent, you're always going to be bound to beholden to something or someone. So, so money is definitely a part of it. But, for me, it really is about making sure that women have options, that they know that they can build a life that they want, that they don't have to settle. And so I appreciate that.
I like what you're doing, and because yours is to get in your mind to know that you can do this.
Yeah.
This is, you have to first know you can. Like, not how am I going to, I can, and the how is going to work itself out.
Exactly. So
I'm excited about your trip. I'm sorry, I'm going to bring up your trip again.
Go ahead.
To Cayman. I'm going to be in Greece. I mean, I know it sounds horrible, but I'm going to be in Greece.
Oh, you're going to be in Greece. I love Greece. It was beautiful.
Man. I've never been, and I'm excited to go. But so I got to get you next time.
It is absolutely beautiful. It's just like the pictures.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah, just like the pictures. Greece is amazing. So that's okay. But a weekend for me, it's gonna come again. So we're going in October, but we'll go again, and maybe you can jump on the next one.
There you go. I'm excited. Yeah. I really was sad because I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's okay. Like I said, you'll catch the next one.
Yep.
But thank you so much for joining me tonight. And all of Dr. Felecia's information is going to be in the comments. So you'll be able to reach out to her directly. And I will see you all next time. Take care. Have a great night.
Bye.